Okay, so I think this is recording. Uh, OBS don't want to put the video up, so I'm just gonna record me speaking. Um, so here's one thing here. Just friend enemy distinction, and this guy goes into talking about these communists and communist right. Basically, the dissident right turns into the authoritarian communist right. And this is why I don't like Lethal Lightning's network or the Geeks and Gamers network, because they have this bullying, negativity, evil sounding. They're trying, like D-Day Cobra and Lethal Lightning are trying to be the wrestling heels, but they're completely ignorant of this basic concepts of what's on the screen right here. Uh, they like to kind of think they're neurotic, might kind of think that he's using rules for radicals to destabilize the woke, but they're not smart enough down the line. They just beat you over the head with whatever, and behind the scenes there might be some bullying or maybe threats of we're going to expose you or something. But it's all destabilization. It's kind of gamers being like a parasite on a culture, and gaming kind of is supposed to be a parasite on the culture as escapism. There has to be a stable, boring life before you jump into a game and just do whatever crazy thing that you need to do in the game. I mean, working for the CIA, shooting people, things like that. There needs to be a pretending you're in a movie, acting in a movie or something. Gaming in industry in general needs to be more parasitic on it to become escapism than it needs the sweet baby DEI garbage where it there's no escapism. It's all about who am I and what do I need to do to people to make them understand. So that D-Day Cobra and Lethal Lightning sound more like that than the basic culture that is very boring and wore out because we got to work so hard just to come home and sit here, just to have the right to have a house or an apartment or whatever. I have a little more freedom because of disability and everything else. It's like FU money without having any money. I sit here until I die, pretty much. But these kind of topics interest me, and I'm very much against communism of any kind of dissidence in that way. I always go to Christian things, and when people are talking about Christian concepts, I understand it a lot easier than being reactionary, being this wrestling heel for clips and baiting people to engage them, things like that. But friend enemy distinction is immediately what the Geeks and Gamers network will immediately run into that behind the scenes and stuff. And so he's saying that the practical application of Carl Smith's friend enemy distinction, which is foundational in the dissident right, dissident right in quotes because it's the same as communist authoritarian right. But that contradicts right. There is no right or left. In American politics, that's French. The French Parliament around the time of our Civil War. And so they introduce the concepts of dissident right, all these layers in there, there's left and right, and so they do that, use all that to destabilize. It pits everybody against each other instead of what we should be concentrating on. Is there enough gas in the car to get me to work so I can pay for food? And what everybody comes from a place of uh, their fun is to pick on people at work to take them out of the way. Yeah, for whatever reason, because they're better, but they're using authoritarian tactics, the same as the left. There is no left and right. Constitutional conservatives right in the middle. And most of what we incur online, what we run into, is left trying to force the conservative constitutional classical liberal, try to coerce and force them into doing the wrong thing, when we should all be hobbits and worry about whatever's in front of us. But so friend enemy distinction, dissident right, actually the authoritarian right is Marcuse's repressive tolerance. There's a reason Marcuse made use of Smith's ideas for his own evil purposes. The dissident rights are fools. So they're ripping off the rip-off of the basic communists, using their own tactics against them to destroy woke. But by being more toxic and sucking more people in, and what they're just doing is carving out their own selfish needs and not thinking about everyone else. Trump lives that way. The way Trump does, he protects himself, but he has decided that he will be taking all the heat, so the rest of us can go to work and keep our car, keep our computers, our gaming, and whatever. That's what he wants. Everyone who is dissident. They want the cities to burn down like LA right now. They want all this destabilization. So let's see. Friend enemy distinction did it. Okay. Okay. Smith wrote effective wielding of political power, authoritarian conservative theorist, critic of he would be pro-capitalism and all that, but using it to twist things up, using the state to twist things up. The specific political distinction with political actions and motives can reduce is what between friend and enemy. So this is his rules for radicals. Who is the concept of the state presupposes the concept of the political. So the state is above whatever issues, fires or homeless or whatever. The state is more important than political. You need to get things out of your way so you can get to work. But this body of the state is more important, like Mike Pence said when he certified all the cheating votes for Biden. Protect this body. Okay, so that was Smith's. So Marcuse evolved a theory over years that stated modern technology is repressive naturally. Do you work for Elon or do you work for Google? Do you work for Amazon that owns Kick or Twitch? You get some payout. But are you an employee or do you just come in as a user? Medicare is the same way. Do you come in as a user and they don't tell you, they don't list what you need to do to qualify for Medicare, for YouTube or being a streamer? They don't list it, and they keep changing it, and they keep screwing with the AI. So how much exposure, engagement and exposure, how you play, your videos are placed on someone else's recommended list. So technology is repressive naturally. It is above whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about fandom, comics, or politics. The existence of the modern technology, streaming technology, comes first before what your passions are, before you. There's no individualism there. Both capitalist and communist societies, workers did not question the manner in which they lived due to the mechanism of repression and technological advances. So he had a performance principle. Men work for others, not themselves. Their work is disciplined rather than free. Most jobs will do that. And so the workplace becomes parasitic on the culture at home. So be parasitic on a culture at home is how you take that home friend-enemy distinction applied to your home to create dissidence in your house and around you. And create arguments. And then you can't rest, pretty much. So the tolerance is mentioned down in here somewhere. I just saw that. Tolerance. Pure tolerance. Tolerance is not a virtue of Christians. Christianity is best for people like me who are stuck and can't get out of the situation. People who have a work history have a better way of finding a better job that's easier on them and get the pay that they need without all the dissonance and BS. And tolerance is not a Christian virtue is not a plank of their existence. Everyone has a right to exist. Why they are there, we don't know all the time. Half the time is we get caught up in something because we asked the wrong question. But remember, Jesus found all the speculating, gambling, trading of who knows what. I mean, the Romans used to, castrate large black guys that are their enemies and use that, use the skin of that as a canteen, things like that. So if you have that kind of trading and gambling and everything else on the temple grounds, remember that Jesus took a whip and flipped the tables violently. Tolerance is not a Christian virtue. We do not have to tolerate this dissidence. We can speak against it every time we want. None of this is helpful to restoring people's lives. It creates its own vacuum the dissidence will create its own vacuum of escapism. The cult of personality, the wrestling heel. If anybody's playing a character on stream, like a wrestling heel or a clown or something, like Boogie, just stay away from it. It doesn't help anything. They're being dissident. They're using these authoritarian right tactics that are basically communist. There's like Rules for Radicals author, what's his face? I think it was Bill Ayers. He said communism with a lowercase c. And these are layers of communism that you have to justify your opinion, your existence to the state because the state must be. It has to be there. To justify your existence to others. And it's like Christians are just like, hey guys, I don't know why I'm still alive, but it is what it is. Every time someone says it is what it is, people get offended because you're not adding to them, because they're brainwashed on corporate lower levels of corporate communism, that if you don't have the friend-enemy distinction, you have to run dissident programs on them. I do not tolerate any of this. That's my opinion, and probably why I can't work or do anything. So some traditional conservative arguments just sound exactly like a trans person threatening to kill people. The Bill of Rights, it almost like it's barely there. There's no disagreement with that. But yeah, so I gotta end that somewhere. It was a 20-minute talk. Okay, let's keep talking. 20 seconds. Make it 20 minutes. Dissident right are fools. I see anything like that. You're playing your heel character on stream. I will call it out because I don't care. I got the FU money and I can sit here till I die. If I see anything like being that heel, you're not being yourself. All these comments on Melanie Mack that she's not genuine, and so they start running dissidents on her. A little spin on rules for radicals. It's not right. Let them speak to biblical principles. Because without the biblical principles, there's no declaration, there's no constitution, there's no Bill of Rights. If you do not accept the biblical natural law, then there is no country. You're just constantly running dissidents and fighting and being a parasite on people that don't need it in their life. So that's 21 minutes.